Hello everybody, welcome along. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modeling Bench, and welcome back to the channel. Here we are now, part 79 or pack 79 of this Lancaster bomber build. And you can see we've got a big box in this one. So I think this is the wing stiffening spars. So as usual, we'll get this open and we'll have a look at the magazine first, as we always do. I always open these live on camera, and that way you can see I haven't been fiddling. Right. So here we go. If you want to get yourself one of these and build along with me, there's a link in the description below the video. You can go and follow that, and that will lead you to where we need to be. So you can see here we've got the parts. We're going to be mating up some spars for the port wing, which I've got here in preparation. But first of all, we'll have a look at the magazine. So what have we got in here? There is no subject matter this month. That's unbelievable. Normally they have a couple of stories, don't they, about bomber crews or different aircraft or whatever. So very unusual. Right, so what we'll do, we will get the light on as per usual, and we'll get the book open. And the first thing we do, as always, is check our contents. So we have in here a box for recycling. We've got some wires. Also got a mountain of little bags now as well. We've got these little bits here to go in. There we go. We've got these pieces here wrapped in tissue. So these are the spars themselves. We've wrapped these in tissue. I must say the packaging from Hachette is very, very nice. Very nice indeed. Everything's protected and well covered and everything. There's another big heavy chunky bit of metal there. There's two of those. When I threw that piece of paper for recycling, it rattled when it hit the deck. It's not supposed to do that. Right, and then we have here another spar. There we go. And we've got a bag of GP screws. So they have suffix P, so that means they are a plastic screw. A couple of lights. So two lights, two of those, one of those, and some screws. Yep, we've got everything here. You might find it helpful to attach labels to the cables near the LEDs on parts 79F and 70 to indicate which is K and which is K1. That's K and that's K1. Why would we want to add labels when they've already got it on there? We shall see. Right, so take the navigation light 79F with the letter K. Okay, so we're going to how are we going to unwrap this? How does this go? Okay, so that's how it goes. Right, so we're going to pull this, try and pull this straight. There we are. Okay, so just going to gently pull it and run it through my fingers, and that will kind of help to straighten it out. Right, so we are going to position the cable so that it runs down the centre of the upper side of the wing frame, seated in the notches in the frame. The cable then runs around the back of the landing gear bay, and the connector is positioned in the opening in the wing frame. The blue line left gives an indication of how much cable should be free at the wing tip. So we want a little bit of cable free at the wing tip here. Okay, so I don't know if the actual size or it's like to scale, so it doesn't really matter, to be honest. It does matter, but it's not, millimetre critical. So that's going to run down there. It's going to run down there. Okay, and then this is going to run around the back of the landing gear bay. Along there, down there, and then down there. Alright, so that's how that's going to sit. Don't worry about the end popping out. That's going to be held in now. It's always easy to draw, but it's not so easy to do in real life. Okay, so that one's going to go down there. Okay, I can see what they're saying now. What they're saying is about marking the other end, because if they come dislodged, you won't know which is which. So what we will do is grab some tape, a bit of Tamiya tape, and I will put on it with a Sharpie. I will put on it a letter K. Just use ordinary tape for this. Okay, so we'll put that right in there like that. and then we'll make one for K1. So we're ready. And I think the other thing I'm going to do, get this one off and stick it on the side of the bench for when we're ready. I'm also going to put this in position so it's sticking out like that. And I'm going to put a piece of tape across there just to hold it in place temporarily, because it could be, you know, it could be a couple of months before we had to, you know, getting all this held in position. I think these spars help to hold them in, don't they? So that's got to go round there. It's got to come behind that cable there, go on so it can drop down in, and then it's got to go down. There's something I can prod with. Here's a stick. There we go. It's got to go down that side. The same here. They've got to go down the side of those screw platforms to keep them out of the way, and that's going to go round there then, round there, and then it's going to go on the inside of that screw platform there. So we'll push that down into there like that. Okay, so that's that held in place. Right, so next we are going to take 79G, which is this one here. We're going to untangle it, and then again we'll run it through our fingers just to kind of straighten out a bit. Put a piece of tape on the end here, K1, just like that, and then this one is going to come out of the back, so this is the formation light. So I'm going to grab another piece of tape, and I'm going to put this one. Okay, so this was going into the same trough, so I don't actually need another piece of tape. What I need is a pair of tweezers to lift this tape up, because I have no bloody fingernails. Okay, so that is going to go into that groove. There's a groove on the wingtip. Okay, so that's going to go like that. So we'll take that down like that. There we are. I think I've left a little bit too much slack on there. So we'll pull that back in a bit. Not that it matters, as I've said before. Okay, we'll make sure all these wires sit down nicely in the wing. That piece of tape I had earlier, what I'm going to do is grab that, and I'm going to tape over there. And then this one will come down into here. This is, I think this is going to be one of the longest Lancaster videos I've ever done. Right, that's going to go down into there. That's going to get jammed in. Go on, go sideways, bloody tip over. Why does it have to stay horizontal? Just go vertical, and then you'll fit in there. I'm talking to you like you understand what I'm saying. You're a totally inanimate object, aren't you? Right, there you go. Wasn't so hard, was it? Right, and then that's got to go down through there. And that's got to go. At some point we're going to have a circuit board to connect all this to, and that'll be hallelujah moment, because we've got so many bloody wires hanging loose off this thing. Right, so that's going to go down in there like that. Okay, so there we are, that's those wires there. So that's how that's going. I'm going to put another piece of tape here. In fact, I think I'm going to be putting a spar in there in a minute, so I might regret this. So I'll leave this tape over here loose at the moment. Okay, so that's that. Right, so coming over the page now, we are going to take 79A, which is our big long spar, and that is going to go down in there. As I said, this tape's going to be in the way, so we'll get that up there. That spar is going to sit down there, and it's also on this end, and that end needs a tweak. It's been bent. It's got a bend in it. You can see it's like this way over. So what we'll do is just take that out of there. Just give that a little tweak. A little bit more. There we go. Push that right down in. Okay. And then we'll take one of our screws and screw that into there. Make sure the screw doesn't trap the wiring. Make sure the wiring is down the side of those lugs, as I said just now. There we are. And then another screw on this end. This is going to keep our wings nice and stiff and stop them flopping around. Right, so I'm going to put that tape down in that wire down in there and then tape it down. Same here. And I'm going to tape it down there as well, just to hold it in place. Right. Now we are going to take 79D. It fits in a slot running outwards from the landing gear. Fix in place at each end using GP screws. So that's going to go and make sure that wire there isn't getting trapped, and make sure this wire here is down the side of that lug. So that's just going to drop in there like that. Now what I'm going to do here is, if I just push that down, that's going to trap that wire. What you've got to be careful of is trapping any wires, because what may happen is you may find you remove the insulation, you'll get a short, and then you might find that all of your lights don't work, or all your motors or something, whatever. So push that down in like that, then we'll grab a GP screw, and then top again, make sure you don't trap the wire underneath the screw head. And the same here. There we go. So that's all good. I'm going to push that tape down onto there and down onto there. That'll help to hold those in. Right. Then this part shows it's 79 with the GP screw circled. Okay. And then here the two short spars are fitted at the inner ends of the frame. The bars fit in the slots in the wing frame. The holes in the large tabs on the struts align with sockets in the wing frame. Fix each strut in place with a GP screw through the screw hole in the small tab. So we're just going to, so this is going to fit into there. Again, make sure the wiring is down the side of that lug and not sitting on top of it. You do not want to trap that wire underneath here. So that's going to go in like that. And then we're going to grab a GP screw. Make sure, I'm just going to show you here, make sure when you put this in that this corner here isn't trapping those wires underneath. So I'm going to push this in and down, just like so. I'm going to make sure that wire is not trapped. You can see the wires here are trapped underneath. So we're going to make sure we pull those out like so, so that this bracket can go down without trapping anything. Right, because what we don't want to do is at the end of the day find things don't work because we've trapped wires and stripped their insulation or whatever. Okay, so you can see those wires, they're coming out of the sides of there. They're not underneath the bracket. There's no issues whatsoever. Okay, and then we'll do the same up here. Now again, we've got a lot of wires here. So these wires all have to go down the side of that lug, or what we can do is pull them out and put them in back on top of the metal bracket. But, I would rather have them in there and held down by the bracket if I can, because it keeps everything neat and tidy. I don't think they're all going to go down. No, we're not going to get all of them in there, so we have one loose. So again, that's going to get that bloody wire out of the way. Okay, so that's going down like that. And then we'll grab a screw, screw that into position, just like so. Make sure nothing's trapped underneath it before we finally tighten it down. Nope, we're good to go. There we are. So that can sit in there like that. I'm just looking, actually, I wonder if we could get a couple of the wires to go down the other side of that lug. The bracket would still hold them down. No, there's a plastic tab in the way. Okay. Okay, so back to plan A. We'll put that in like that, hook it down in, and that way it pushes the wires aside. And then put the screw in. Somebody messaged me as well, this messaged me, put a comment in. Apparently they are going to be doing another revision of these door hinges because they are not good. But they haven't mentioned when, apparently. I don't know that that's true, it's just what I've been told by somebody in the comments. So there's all our wires there. Okay, so again I'm going to grab a piece of masking tape and I'm just going to get these wires and just put a little ring of masking tape around them just to keep them all together and stop them all flopping about and falling out and everything. There we are. Right, so that's made life a bit easier there. Okay, so let's go over the page and see what's next. We've got these little brackets to go in now. Okay, so 79E, they're all the same, are they? Let's just check back at the parts call out at the beginning. Yeah, they're all the same. So these are going to go, these help to hold the wires down. So these are going to go into there like that. It's a bit strange because they do absolutely nothing. They just fall back out again. Take the 5 identify the positions where they fit. Ribs on the underside of the cover plates fit the slots to be fitted. So the arms of the plates hold the cables in place. Use a tiny drop of glue. Okay, so we're going to use glue to hold them. Right, so that one's going into there. Like so. I want that wire to turn sideways. Why won't you just lay over and turn sideways like that? Because if it's on its side, it's the 2 wire thickness is too deep. Okay, so we're going to grab some, see, I'm going to use the cheap stuff because it goes off much quicker. Right, we got there in the end. Okay, so I've got a dollop of the cheap super glue. So what I'm going to do is put some super glue on there, like so. Right, sorry about that guys, the battery went on this confounded useless piece of rubbish Sony ZV-1 camera. It doesn't charge while it's filming. It's so annoying. It's plugged into the computer and it doesn't charge while it's filming. And then the little compartment that holds the battery is right next to the mounting tab where you mount it to the tripod that you're using. So you've got to take it off the mounting and everything to get the bloody battery out, to change it, put the battery on charge, put a freshly charged batteries back, just so you can keep using the bloody useless rubbish. Absolute junk. Sony ZV-1, do not bother. Absolute garbage. I'm going to make sure when I get another camera I sort of have one to play with rather than just buy it off the seller's recommendation, because I think when I walked out of the shop with this piece of junk, the seller was probably laughing through his teeth, because honestly, what a useless load of rubbish it is. And to be honest, I did a little bit of video filming a little while ago, and this is no word of a lie. I can't remember what it was. I think it was on the border model Lancaster. Oh, it's a bloody phone now. Hey, sorry about that. Right, let's try and get 5 minutes work done without a disturbance. So we're going to glue these in here, and once again I'm going to make sure these wires are turned onto their side rather than sitting vertical. So that one needs to go over. What I'm worried about, if I have these little plates that we're putting in now, if I have these set up too high, what I'm concerned about is it may affect the way the skins fit onto the top of the wings. So that's going to go in there like that. Okay, that's lovely. So what we'll do is put some glue on there. So put a drop of glue along there. Put a drop of glue. Remember, this is the cheaper glue I'm using. Of course, I'm reminding myself because for me it's half an hour ago. For you, it was a few minutes. You can see with this cheaper super glue, it's sort of pretty instant, especially when it's new. The thinner the super glue, the quicker it sets. So if you want a really instant set, then get yourself some thin CA. Right, so these wires here, again there's 3 of them. They need to be turned sideways, and they are. So that plate can go in there. As you notice, I'm dry fitting everything first. I'm test fitting everything before I fit it on, because once you put the super glue on, there's no going back. Okay. My chair is starting to sink. If you haven't seen my Fiat 131 channel, you'll hear me talk about it on there. I bought a chair on Amazon, an office chair, and I bought the office chair back in March, and it is now, well, today is the 1st of August, and it has now decided to start sinking. Well, it started sinking at the beginning of July. So I tried to get hold of the company that I bought it from, just so I could say, can I please have a replacement cylinder? And it turns out that you can't get in touch with them. All you get is this bloody AI crap from Amazon, and then you get to speak to customer services representative. It's recorded, well, it's an AI voice, and it says, sorry, your 6-month return, or your 1-month return window or whatever has expired. So yeah, great, thanks for that then. So basically I'm buggered. I've got a chair I can't do anything with, and they're not willing to help me with it whatsoever. They haven't said they won't help me with it, it's just that they appear to be unable to with their bloody automatic bots and crap. So I talked about it on my Fiat channel. What amazed me, and it's something worth bearing in mind, guys, somebody messaged, again, this is somebody else's comment, not me, somebody messaged that they bought a garden item, a garden tool from Amazon that had a 10-year warranty. When they tried to put a claim in, the manufacturer said, sorry, your item is not warranted. You've bought it from Amazon, who is not one of our dedicated sellers. So basically, had he gone and bought this garden tool, whatever it may be, from B&Q or whatever, then the garden, or home base or something, then the warranty would have been valid. But because he bought it from Amazon, the warranty was not valid, which I find very hard to believe, if I'm honest, but I'm not going to accuse the guy of lying. But yeah, shocking information. Now with this one, I'm just going to put a drop of glue on the side and then just wipe it away, because it hasn't quite glued properly on the front. Yeah, you can see it's not wanting to stick down. It's got glue there, but it doesn't want to stick down. There we go. That's gone down now. And what you can do if you want to, just to make sure they stay, I mean the wing skins are going to hold them down, but you could always go in with a drop of glue on the top, and then when it's dry you could sand it off. But I'll leave the tape on for now, just to help these, to these dry off, and then we can take the tape off afterwards. I'll leave that bit there. But this here needs to be all dealt with. But there we go. We've made sure we've got new glue on the wires, so they're free to move in and out. So there we go. All right. So that's that. So spars and cable covers have been fitted to the wing frame, and that has been pack 79. Thank you for watching. I will see you all soon for pack 80. Bye for now.